right, can I have your attention, please? First off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. And it had to be Chris Sutton back there doing all the talking. This is a very special occasion for our Parks Department. Give you a little bit of background on the gentleman that we're here for today, Mr. Kenny Sutton. Mr. Sutton was on our Parks Committee for 14 years. He worked very hard for our Parks Department. He was the one that was mainly behind the new dock that you guys see down there. He was on the phone with the DNR weekly to find out what's going on, the status on it, and he was just a thorn in their side to get it done. So if it wasn't for Kenny, this probably would be about 2 more years from happening for us. So one of the things that Kenny came to me for several years ago is we wanted to have a fishing tournament. Me and him both decided at the time we're going to wait on the new dock, because if you guys remember, our old dock was an embarrassment. So we kept waiting and waiting, but then Kenny came to me, we had a conversation, and we couldn't wait any longer. So we threw together a fishing tournament in a 2 weeks period. I literally picked up the phone and called the DNR, because you have to get a permit, explained to them what happened, and they approved it the same day. We had a couple of local fishermen that I wish came today. I invited them, but they came to me. They have a network of fishermen. And for our first ever Kenny Sutton Festival, we had over 40 boats down here fishing. And I remember standing on the old dock looking down with Kenny, and I said, your dream is now a reality. I wish Kenny could be here today with us, but he is with us, honestly and truthfully. What was the weather supposed to be like today? Cloudy and rainy, and look how beautiful this is. He's behind that. So I'm going to turn this over to our program coordinator, Scott Tweedy. He's got a few things to say, and then we'll keep this rolling.
Just to kind of reiterate what Mr. Pennington just said, appreciate everybody coming over today. I know, Kenny was very, very important to me, helped me out tremendously, was a great volunteer on the Parks Board, showed up at all the events, always wanting to help. And so me and Chris got together last year, and we started talking about wanting to do something to kind of kick off the new dock and everything. So what we kind of put together was, to have this, and then we're going to have some live music down there. We got some food coming, some kids activities. So after we're done here, make sure you stick around, because there is a lot of great music down there. Also, the 5 finalists for the St. Albans Has Talent is going to be performing. So it's going to be a great day, but there'll be food and all that face painting. So make sure you stick around, listen to the great music that we have here in town, and all of it's local music. All of it is St. Albans area. So, but just to reiterate today, I appreciate you all coming. And Kenny was very dear to me, and I know what we're doing here today. Hopefully he's proud, and we appreciate you all coming. I'm going to turn it over now to our Parks Chairman, Mr. Dave Rucker, Councilman Dave Rucker.
Thanks, sir. When I started in 2017, Kenny was, kind of somebody you look up to on the Parks Committee. Like they said, he was involved. He and Debbie Keener somewhere is out there. But those were the 2 people that did everything. Like, they got involved, and so they were kind of who, when you were new and young, you tried to follow. So like Kevin said, it took most of the information I was going to say about Kenny, working with the fishing tournament. And it was right when he was no longer be with us that this was getting going. And in our last, in the conversations, it was, he wanted to make sure that the fishing tournament wasn't a 1-year thing, something that continued, something that was always going to be something. So it's something that we as the Parks Committee have tried to continue, tried to build on, and it's something that we'll keep working on, more than just a fishing tournament. But we would love to see it as a festival like the other festivals that we have in town in St. Albans, one that is here all day long, an all-day event, not just a fishing tournament, but the cornhole, the bands. So something we're growing at, and just for the fishing festival part of it, coming up at the end of this year, later in the year, we'll be doing that, and thanks to sponsors in town that have pretty well made that possible, where Parks Committee, Parks Department is not funding anything, but the city has come together for Kenny's name, for the fishing festival. So who better fitting to name the dock after? On September 9th is the date that the fishing festival will be happening this year. We did it earlier in the year in previous, but this year we moved it back to September. I think the weather will be better and less competition with other fishing events that are going on. So if you know anybody that likes to fish, get a hold of the Parks Department. Love to have any at all, build the numbers on as many boats as we can get out there fishing and celebrating Kenny and enjoying a day. Next, Mayor James has a proclamation he's going to like to read in a few words.
Well, before I read the proclamation, when I got up this morning, I was thinking, what am I going to wear to this? You know, should I dress up and wear a tie? And I thought, there ain't no way Kenny'd want me to have a tie on, you know. So I got my Parks and Rec gear and everything going. And, you know, I got to know Kenny when I became mayor much, much better than I knew beforehand. And I realized early on that Kenny loved the outdoors. Kenny loved St. Albans, and he loved St. Albans Parks and Rec. And he was instrumental in getting this dock built. Between me and him, the DNR probably looked, and if they had caller ID, they'd probably ignored our calls on several occasions. But, you know, we miss Kenny. He was a vital part of the St. Albans Parks and Rec. And, you know, with our unveiling today, Kenny will live on forever in the city of St. Albans. So we got a proclamation. I'm going to read this real quick. My voice is going, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot. There's a lot of whereases in these proclamations. Whereas Kenny Sutton was a great lover of the outdoors and faithfully served our city for 14 years as a member of our Parks and Recreation Committee. And whereas during his tenure with our city, he was instrumental in the construction and completion of the new boat dock by devoting his time in contacting the DNR for updates and status reports. And whereas Kenny's life was dedicated to the best interests of the community by spending countless hours volunteering for parks events and teaching children archery for St. Peter's Methodist Church. And whereas our community is grateful for his many contributions and has honored Kenny's memory by hosting an annual bass fishing tournament named after him. And now therefore, be it resolved that I, Scott James, Mayor of the great city of St. Albans, do hereby proclaim April 29th, 2023 as Kenny Sutton Day in the city of St. Albans, and express our deep appreciation for his dedication to the progress of this community, and extend to his family our sincere sympathy upon his passing. Done this 29th day of April in the year of our Lord, 2023. Debbie? I'll now present this proclamation for them to keep forever. Debbie, Chris, thank you so much. Yeah, and Chris has stepped in. I believe he's filling a role on the Parks Board now. So, you know, we're keeping it in the family and everything. So, but, yeah. Yeah, you're more than welcome, guys. Hey, guys, go right ahead.
I will be so tickled you all are here. I will abbreviate for some things I've said before. He raised me that you can do what you need to do. That's why we're here. That's why this has been rebuilt. That's why there's a sign up today. This town is having a renaissance, and you all are part of it. When you want this town to keep growing after it was attempted killed with this building across the street 40 years ago, it's coming back. Be a part of it. The way you're part of it is as we do these events, we just need your participation. We need you out at the Alban Arts Theater. When you see a festival, we need you there. We just need you to show up, and that's what makes sustainable things in our community. Let's all be a part of it together. Dad would be so proud that you all are here. Thank you so very much.
All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. Like the mayor said, Kenny may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten in this town. We love our Kenny Sutton, and at this time, we'd like to unveil the now Kenny Sutton Landing.